Hey, hockey fans and families, we've got something to tell you about NHL Sense Arena, our title sponsor. They're rolling out a monthly off-season training pack program with guided objectives for both players and goalies to help kids stay motivated and improve all summer long so they can come back ready, not rusty for next season. It all starts right now in June with the new Elite Campus Prep Training Pack, which features drills and training plans inspired by top colleges, junior teams, and elite hockey programs. And players who compete all the monthly training plans will unlock a limited edition virtual jersey and badge for their Sense Arena locker room. Plus, you'll get entered into a chance to win a special prize at the end of the month. They are always thinking of new stuff over there at Sense Arena. And remember, there's a ton inside the platform, including regular competitions and contests, 3-on-3 NHL games in VR, new training updates, of course, Dangle Pro, something we love here. We've shown you that online. But best of all, NHL Sense Arena is continuing that off-season pricing, just $2.99 for an entire year of unlimited training for both skaters and goalies with up to 4 unique user profiles. So if you've got siblings or you've got multiple kids, this is for you. Visit nhl.sensearena.com/OKPH and you'll get an additional $25 off on top of the off-season pricing. That's pretty cool. And that's basically a free month of NHL Sense Arena for our listeners. So this is something you're going to want to check out. It is a tool for your hockey player. Speaking of tools for your hockey player, let's get you into this episode of Our Kids Play Hockey. Hello, hockey friends and families around the world, and welcome back to another edition of Our Girls Play Hockey. This is going to be, surprisingly, the first edition of the 26-27 seasons. Feels weird even saying that. Edition of Day in the Life with Hayley Scamurra, who obviously is joining us again for another season. Mike Benelli joins us today. Just want to give context to the audience of where we're at right now. We recorded an episode with Hayley about a week ago, talking about kind of the post-parade in Montreal, winning the PWHL championship, the Walter Cup, everything that went into that. And we closed that episode by saying we'll be back with you eventually with the first episode of the next Day in the Life. Well, today's date is June 15th. The episode I just referenced hasn't even aired yet. Last night, the Carolina Hurricanes won the Stanley Cup. I'm trying to give you all context of where we're at. Hayley, in that time period of, I think, 5 days, is now with a new team, facing it off season, lots of decisions to make. So instead of waiting and letting the dust settle, which is not true journalism, Hayley, I said, let's get on the air. You want to get on the air. Let's talk about where we're at. So let's just start with the obvious, okay? Which is a congratulations. You signed a 3-year deal with the Las Vegas to be determined PWHL team. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's ask this. Why don't you walk us through the last week of your life? How this came up? Again, you know what? Before the show, I should say this too. But we were talking about this isn't really free agency because it's a pretty large expansion. We'll just call it expansion agency because all the contracts that existed kind of went up and they went poof in the air. So walk us through this project process of how you are now part of the Las Vegas PWHL team.
Yeah. So basically there's like 6 phases to this expansion process. So like it's still ongoing at the moment. So after phase 1, all of the existing teams had to protect 3 people. Other than that, everyone was up for grabs for expansion teams. Like they could offer you contracts, they could and then if they didn't fill their 5 people by the end of phase 2, there was a selection process that would have ensued.
Right.
So basically, each expansion team made a list of 20 players that they wanted to negotiate with. And let's say they didn't reach their 5 players by the end of that phase, they had to pick from that negotiation list. And I think that might have only been contracted players. But again, you guys, there was a lot of nuances. It was very complicated. It was complicated to be a part of. And so basically Las Vegas was pursuing me pretty heavily and they really wanted me there. And I know the GM, she was my agent actually. And the head coach, which is officially announced now, is Kim Weiss. And I actually met her right after the 2022 Olympics. She coached for the Junior Black Bears, which is like the NAHL team in the Maryland area. And I would train with them to train for my season because we didn't have a pro team then. And so she was a great resource to kind of have. And she also ran skill skates and stuff like that. And all the guys would come do her skill skates, and I joined in on them, and they were incredible. Like you could just tell like there was a huge mutual respect there with all the players. So I'm super excited to be working with her. And we had good conversations and stuff, but obviously at the time we were talking, I wasn't planning on leaving Montreal. I loved my time in Montreal, loved the organization. Um, but it's expansion. There's 4 new teams.
Mhm.
And so I, decided to sign with Vegas, and I think it'll be a great opportunity for me. I'm like a leader on the team, someone with a lot of experience. I've also been on a lot of teams, so I feel like I've learned a lot from all of the teams I've been a part of on like what's good for the culture, and how to kind of like keep the team connected, and how to ultimately win games. And I feel that I can bring a lot of that experience to the table, and they also saw that in me, which was really exciting. And so I'm really excited for the opportunity. I think it'll be incredible, but that also didn't come with sadness about leaving Montreal. So it was really like, it's so when I describe it to people, I just let them know it's like all of the emotions at once.
Yeah.
It's like sadness, heartbreak for leaving the organization that I loved, that helped me grow so much as a player in 1 year. It's excitement for starting a new organization from the ground up and being, more of a leadership role, an active leadership role. I also call myself like a behind the scenes leader on other teams, where it's like I'm a little more quiet, just kind of there for the support and, help mentoring players on teams. But this would be more probably active on this team. And I think that takes a different level of confidence. And I'm ready for that next step, I think, in my career in general. So that's where we're at.
Yeah, it looks like, obviously from our point of view, and from the perspective of like a fan and somebody looking into the
Hmm.
league, there's a lot of growth, and a lot of obviously the expansion is huge. And I'm just wondering, from your perspective as a professional in this league, outside of the actual nitty gritty of the contract, the actual written paper,
Hmm.
how much input do you have in exploring like all the teams? Obviously, you don't just say, oh, that team, yeah, got it. Like, did you really have to sit back and not a lot of time, right? But is there some pros and cons that you go through when you make a decision like this?
For me, it was honestly only Vegas. The other teams were pursuing other players and in that phase. Because again, only 5 players were signed in that phase for each team. So it was a
Right.
very small kind of group. And so for me, it was pretty much Vegas was the only team communicating with me at that point. Um, but if it did come to that, I would have shopped around. A lot of those teams had said like, oh, maybe in like a later phase, like phase 4, which is happening now. So it really just depended on who they were interested in, what they kind of saw for the vision of their team and things like that. But um, yeah.
Now, could you have waited till phase 4? Like, could you, as the athlete, decline, like not been a part of phase 1 and just say, listen, I'll punt this and take my chances?
So what could have happened, so I could have said I'm going to wait. However, if Vegas or any of the other teams, if they didn't reach their 5 players by the end of that phase, it would
Yeah.
have been an expansion draft
Right.
at the end for the 5 players. So I could have been picked up by anyone. Like it could have
So then you really have no choice. Yeah. Yeah.
exactly. So this gives you the agency in a sense. Yeah.
Haley,
Awesome.
I'm writing
Yeah.
down so many notes. It's good. I'm going to go with this one. I'm just going to try and go back in the conversation. In the NHL, we have that term journeyman, right? And that's usually a player that is
Hmm.
traded a lot or signs a lot. In the trailblazing nature of women's hockey, of you, right, and the journey
Hmm.
woman, which is hopefully a phrase I'm kind of coining right now. It's amazing the differences, right? Because when you think of a journeyman, it's usually somebody who's like it's maybe not the most top rated player on the team, and they fill a role. That's not you. Like you're a very
Mm-mm.
important player. You're a very determined player, and this is not a fair comparison, but it reminds me of like when Gretzky left Edmonton to go to Los Angeles to kind of
Yeah.
grow the game, right? And it's like that's what all of you are choosing to do, right?
Hmm.
So you played for a few PWHL teams, like you've said, but I love how you mentioned that, like, that's experience. It's not, this is a new world, right?
Yeah.
So I just thought that was an interesting delineation of like the PWHL journey woman, which really so
Hmm.
many of you are. Speaking of that, with the roster, right? you came over with one of your teammates, Aaron Ambrose, assistant captain of
Hmm.
Victoire. So I have to ask, did any conversations take place? Is this you found out together? Because I imagine that's happening all over the league right now.
I would imagine too. Honestly, we did not talk about it. I only found out like once I signed and once she had signed. The process itself was so fluid and like ever changing that like I didn't really talk to anyone about it because things just kept shifting.
Yeah.
And I pretty much just talked to my agent about everything. And it was like, okay, let's wait on this to happen or this to happen. And there was just so many like outside factors going on and different moving pieces that were really complicated. So honestly, I did not talk to anyone
Yeah.
about who was signing where and things like that because it was just changing all the time.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like when you look at this, I mean, you talked about all the emotions coming down to it at one moment. I'm trying to think of a metaphor for to someone that's sitting at home of like I guess it would be like if you have a job and 4 new
Hmm.
opportunities came up out of nowhere and everyone that works with you except for 3 people could go anywhere they want. I mean, and across the country, by the way. It's not like you're just going across the block to the next job in a city.
Right.
Like it's a new city.
Yeah.
Um, I honestly can't comprehend that. I mean, I don't know how you had to
Mm-mm.
compartmentalize that, but at the same time, yeah, it's decision time, right? And the thing
Yep.
is that one thing that you are really pro at is these decisions, right? So taking a
Hmm.
step back, we talked about how last year was a career year for you. I mean, it was unbelievable, right? From the obviously
Hmm.
not just the championships, but your stats, your roles, right? We signed, I don't know if you know this, you're the only player on Vegas right now with a 3-year deal. Everybody else is 2 or 1-year deals. So that's a pretty
Hmm.
large investment in you as a person. Can you talk a little bit
Yep.
about, and I'm going to compare this to last year, when we started this series with you last year, a lot of unknowns. You had your goals, you had your
Hmm.
team, you knew what you wanted to accomplish. I'm hearing complete confidence from you now. Not that you weren't confident last year, but I'm saying is, no,
Yeah.
this is who I am
Yeah.
and this is what I do. Did
Hmm.
that play into these conversations? Is that what Vegas sees in you? And I'm trying to find the right language here with what you've
Yeah.
accomplished. And I'll say this like generally. I'm not saying you're saying this. Your value is way up, right? And as it should be.
Hmm.
You have won, and now at the highest levels. That all plays into this decision from Vegas and you together, correct?
Absolutely. I think that was definitely something they had seen in me. They loved like the confidence I was playing with, like the value that I brought defensively, offensively, and they also had mentioned this like the things I do off the ice that they feel will have like work really well in the Vegas community in terms of like the mentorship community that
Right.
I have, the podcast I do with you guys, and how much I love being involved in whatever community I'm a part of. And they saw that and they saw that value and they saw that it would be a good fit in the Vegas community, especially with like the girls program and how much it's been growing there. And
Yeah.
they don't have any female hockey players to really look to directly. And now they have this whole team there. And then they'll have more direct access to me and to the team and to the mentorship community that Nick and I run. And we're really excited to kind of show that to them and get them to be a part of it. And that's how we've gotten a lot of people in our community was just teams I was on and fans of the game. And they see it on our Instagram and they want to be a part of it. And so now we'll get to kind of expand that to Vegas too. And that was something that interested them. And it also made me more inclined to go there too because they saw that value.
Going back to the reason why you chose or were chosen to go to Vegas, it reminds me of, just that the need. And I think for our listeners and the people that respect you and watch you do your job, to understand like how at all times in your life you're being judged and viewed and discussions about you, right? So I can think about like when I remember before I got my first head coaching job in college, I was working out a bunch of college guys at a rink in the summer, and I was an assistant coach. I wasn't really making decisions on anyone, and I saw the guys that were working out and what their work ethic was and what they ate and how much they
Hmm.
drank and what their attitude was. And all of a sudden, like on one of these teams, I got the head coaching job, and 3 of those players had been working out with me over the summer, and it was a really hard decision for me to have to cut 2 of those players because I saw what they did. Like I'm like, well, you had no interest in being a better player for this organization. When you didn't know somebody was watching, and I think
Hmm.
that's the point. Like I think what you working out with. With Kim is the same kind of idea, right? That like if you didn't make a great impression with her at the time, maybe your name doesn't come up, even if you had a great year this year, and
Yep.
even if because that's like meeting those people and seeing what you did as an athlete and the work ethic you have. Obviously, that's somebody now that can say, no, I have firsthand experience of what this woman's going to do in our locker room and for us on the ice.
Yeah, that's so true. And I think that also just shows the power of like the connections you make, and you never know like who's going to come back in your life and circle back through. And that has been a really cool kind of full circle moment coming to Vegas now. It's like I actually got my agent because of the coach of Vegas, Kim Weiss. So they were friends from college, and I was training with them right after the 2022 Olympics. And Kim was like, "If you need an agent, like my friend Domi is starting this agent, like starting the women's side of things at CAA, and she would love to have you." And I was like, "Okay, cool." And now I got an agent, and then I remember like Domi was always talking about making her a coach someday. Like she's like, she should totally coach in the PWHL. I'm like, oh my gosh, she'd be amazing. Like we would love to have a girl, like a female coach like her. And now here we are. Domi's bringing her in as the GM to coach this Vegas team, and who would have thought that then I get roped in, connected to it. And it's such an incredible like full circle moment. You just never know what connections you're going to make and how they're going to impact your life later on.
Yeah, and I think
Yeah,
those
sure.
experiences are there, right? When you go to national camp and you go to maybe your 15 camp, or you go to your
Hmm.
regional camp with your kids, like everybody's climbing a ladder, right? Every coach, every evaluator, everybody that's on the ice is trying to climb that ladder. And then all of a sudden, like the ladder is really full at the top, right? Like, oh, we're all here, we're all here together. And I think it's a lot of it is just a testament of what you did on those rungs, and it sounds like you made the right
Hmm.
connections and showed the right work ethic, and
Hmm.
did the things the right way, to be considered a leader in a professional locker room. So congratulations to that, but
Hmm.
also just a point of reference for players that are listening to this. That all those different times in your life mean something, even if you have to be out there with a bunch of boys training, and you have to go look like you want this as much as anybody else on the
Hmm.
ice, and not take it as a positive or a negative, right?
Yep.
I'll say this too, Haley. When we think of the words consummate pro, I mean, you come up pretty high on the list here. All right. I mean, you're just a
Thank you.
professional at everything that you do. I also love that you talk about that even at the pro level, the hockey community is a very small, well knit community.
It is.
Everybody knows each other. It just shows you how far that can go. I want to keep
Yep.
talking about a couple things here. So here's an interesting one, right?
Hmm.
As of recording of this episode, Hillary Knight is listed as a player on your team, but it
Hmm.
is kind of been reported that she's been traded, or in lieu to be traded to Detroit for a draft pick, in true kind of Vegas fashion, with expansion teams finding anything they can do to boost their team. So my question's not so much about Hillary. That's an amazing situation. My question's about the draft. I'm
Mm.
not sure what's happening with the PWHL draft, because for those of you again who don't know or haven't listened to the show, uh, at the end of the season, when you're out of the playoffs, you are vying for draft positioning with your play. You earn points towards the draft positioning. I imagine, I don't know, I imagine the PWHL will honor that because of the expansion and its
Hmm.
ability to sign people. But have you received any
Hmm.
word on how the actual PWHL draft will operate this year?
I have not.
Yeah, it's interesting when you think about it,
Hmm.
right? Because
Hmm.
especially this year,
Yeah.
the draft class is extremely strong, right? If I won that draft, it's not a lottery. That draft, I forgot what they call it, the sprint or whatever.
Gold plan.
Thank you. Yeah, I want my first pick, okay,
Yeah.
because it's a big. I want my second pick this year, no matter who it is, because they're both
Yeah.
Olympians.
Yeah.
I'm getting a little ahead of myself with that, but I imagine those players are going to be going first in the draft. So
Hmm.
that's going to be an interesting thing, because no matter how you slice it, uh, these expansion teams are probably going to have a lot of draft picks on them, right? So you're going to be mixing not just the expansion and the rosters expanding with that, but you're going to have a
Hmm.
lot of new young players on the team. Have you given any thought on that? Is that part of your leadership role? Has that been discussed?
Hasn't been discussed, but something I've been assuming would happen is like now that we're looking at who our first 10 are
Yeah.
soon to be, I'm realizing I'm one of the older players on the team, and obviously the girls that are being drafted, like a lot of them I've been on the US team with. A lot of them I have helped in the mentorship side of things, bringing them alongside with USA events and making them feel comfortable, making them feel like they can play like themselves. And I kind of assumed that I'd be kind of doing that role for the pro side of things as well, because that's going to be a new adventure to them. It's going to be
Right.
different than their college careers. It's going to be different than playing on the US team. Like playing pro, it's different. Like you feel it your first year. It is a different beast. Um,
Mm.
Especially with the physicality side of things. I think that was one of the bigger things I noticed was being a little bit more sore from that. I've got like a lot better. Like this year I feel fantastic. Like I didn't really feel it from that, but that first year you
I
felt it for
believe that.
sure.
Yeah, it's not
Um,
college.
it is not
Yeah.
college. No, it is definitely different. It definitely takes more of a toll. And um but you just also have to get into the routine of that. There's not really a routine. It's basically either home games or away games or road trips or home trips. Like there's not like at school, you had games on the weekend and that was it. Now it's like, game, practice, game,
Yeah.
who knows,
NHL
right? The
arena.
schedules.
It could be
Yeah.
anywhere.
Yeah, like
It could be in any
you
place.
got to be,
Yeah.
yeah, it might not be in a city that we play in. We're going to be in like another random city. Who knows, right? And there's a lot of different variables with that. So I think it's getting them comfortable with that, getting them used to that, being adaptable, and just being that support for them, making them feel as comfortable as they can be in a new pro setting.
Yeah, it just made me realize this too. We never asked this during the season that when you do those stadium takeovers and you go from 20,000 people and the next night it might just be a few thousand people, that is a
Hmm.
pretty big difference um,
Hmm.
in terms of experience. And like, again, you've experienced it. If I'm trying to put the audience in the perspective of what you just said, if you're just in college, I mean, this is a whole new world. And then,
Hmm.
look, we hear all professional athletes talk about how to become a pro. You got to learn how to become a pro.
Hmm.
That's actually true in any line of work,
Hmm.
especially for our younger listeners listening. But yeah, you learn from the people that have done it. You learn from the people
Hmm.
that have experienced it. And I'm gonna gush a little bit here, Hayley, but I do love the fact that there's gonna be young players in that locker room going, "That's Hayley Scamurra. That's that gold medalist, and she won the thing last." That's gonna end up happening. Another thing that happened recently, again, this is kind of like a news dump questionnaire for you. But I just want your thoughts on this. One of the things that was done recently is they unveiled all salaries within the league.
Mm.
Okay, now
Hmm.
there's a lot of reasons why leagues do this. One is to showcase kind of what people are or are not getting paid. It allows the athletes to understand value. Again, if you study sports history, this is something that traditionally owners never wanted to happen. And the reason owners never wanted it to happen is because they didn't want to have to end up paying their players more than they already
Hmm.
were. But this is why you have collective bargaining nowadays. What would end up happening is really, really good athletes were getting paid an immense amount less than other athletes, right? So
Hmm.
that ability to be transparent is actually very important. Keeping in mind too that the PWHL kind of owns everything. That's a
Hmm.
pretty big step from them as a league. I think that's a really big nod to the athletes. I do understand why they waited to do it 3 seasons, but I wanted your yeah, I'm going to say it like this. I wanted your opinion on your business being out there. You know what I mean?
I honestly, like, I'm fine with it. I think a lot of us maybe didn't expect it to just be put on a list in order.
Yeah, yeah.
I
That's
think that's a
exactly how
different
they put
vibe
it.
to it.
Yeah,
And I think I honestly don't mind because I do feel that it's important for it to be transparent
right.
for fans, for agents to be able to negotiate for their players. I think that was like the
Yeah,
biggest reasoning I
of course.
think was for that. And that's obviously helped people in this next, especially with expansion and things like that. Like you're expecting people to move across the country. It's like, hey, we're seeing this discrepancy. It should be more here, like things like that. And so I think it's super important for them to know. And I think for fans to know like what we do and um what we're playing for. Like, you know what I mean? It's to grow for this next generation and it's to continue building it. And it is increasing each year. And I think that's
Yes.
huge to note. And housing stipends increase and things like that. But yeah, we're not making the big bucks. We're doing this for the love of the game. We're doing this to continue growing the league and making sure it's viable for the future. And that's our goal. And it has been. And that's why we're willing to go through like two different expansions within 2 years and moving across the country and doing whatever it takes. But we love it. So
What's crazy about it, Haley, is if you're just coming into pro women's hockey, you look at those numbers and you go, "Oh wow, that's not as much as I thought." And then there's two sides to that. There's 20 years ago there was negative money,
Right.
You're paying
Exactly.
and then it's fun to think about 5-10 years from now what those numbers. You might add a zero on all of them the way things are going. To be
Right.
perfectly honest.
Right.
You mentioned moving across the country. So prior to the season, Seattle, Vancouver were there, right? I mean, that was
Yeah.
the first expansion. The 4 new teams have created or potentially have created an Eastern Conference, a Western Conference. If they decide to do it that way, they may not, right? Nobody knows how they're going to do it, but I imagine, and I'm projecting here, I know you don't know either. I'm imagining they're going to have 2 conferences with more of a traditional hockey style playoffs, leading to the PWHL final next year. But talk to me about your feelings of moving to the Pacific time zone. We'll talk about Vegas specifically in a minute, but that is a big jump, right? You're moving to the desert. What's that process? Is it excitement? Is it wonder? Is it fear? I mean, what are the maybe not fear, but you know what I'm saying? What are the emotions attached to that?
Mainly excitement, but I'm not in the thick of things yet for planning how to get all my things there. When I start going too far ahead, I'm like, oh, do I have to ship this? Do I need to ship this? Like, how many things do I need? And I get a little ahead of myself. So I'm trying to take it like one step at a time. First, find out where I'm going to live in that city. What's really cool is I've actually, like, since finding out about it, I've been like, all of these people are coming out of the woodworks. Like, I lived there for this many years and I loved it. I'm from Buffalo and I live there now and I love it. And like so many incredible experiences I'm hearing from people about Vegas and how it's more than just the main city and Sin City and stuff. Like, there's so much outside of that, so many amazing suburbs and like, the girls hockey there has grown 600% is what they were saying. Like, it's incredible, and like how fast they've grown. So I think um overall, I'm really excited. I'm excited for some more sunshine. I've missed the sunshine in the winter, so I'm not too mad about that. Maybe find a place with a pool. We'll see.
That
But yeah,
shouldn't be
I'm
too hard,
excited for I don't think so. No, everywhere I've looked, there's pools. So yeah, I'm honestly more excited than anything for the experience. I think, like, I was talking about this with someone, it's like, when do you get to do this? Like, I just get to pick up and move across the country to Vegas and do what I love for a living. Like, that's amazing. I can't wait. I think it's going to be, I'm excited to see how I feel about it. I've never lived in a climate like that. So it'll definitely be a new experience, but one I'm really looking forward to, honestly.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I'll confirm a few things for you. That one is, you're absolutely right that Vegas is a lot more than just the Strip. I think that's a common misconception. I mean, towns like Henderson, where the
Yes.
AHL affiliate, are really beautiful. I was out there last year with my women's national team, and we went and skated with a girls team, right? Just same idea, and it's a healthy environment there for hockey. The other thing about Vegas that I'm not sure a lot of people realize. Vegas is a hockey town. All right. Know that they're growing sports, right? Obviously they have the Raiders there. Sounds like the Athletics are going to be there soon. They're growing that infrastructure. But in all of the people I've spoken about spoken to in Vegas, it's a hockey town. They love the Golden Knights. They love the fact that there's a women's team coming there. They would not have put one there if they didn't feel that was going to be successful. I think it's amazing the way Vegas is growing. I wanted to get your thoughts on Vegas sports now. We talked about Vegas as an area and the climate.
Yeah.
But between those teams and between the way sports are growing there, talk to me about Vegas sports and the people of Vegas and how excited you are to represent them.
Beyond excited. I've received so many messages from different Vegas sports. Like, there was a Vegas Warriors group that reached out, like, for veterans, and they want us to, like, come out to a practice and things like that. There's a lot of Vegas
too. I'm
girls
sorry,
teams.
I forgot to mention the Aces.
Yes.
I didn't mean to leave that out.
Yes. No, that's okay. And the WNBA team with Asia Wilson, like, would love to go to a game. After my experience with the Mystics, I'm like, I'm ready for more WNBA for sure.
I have a feeling you'll get invited. Yeah.
I hope so too. And I think I should look into this. I wonder if we're the only 2 women's teams that are there now, but we need to fact check that.
We should look around. You know what? I can do it while you're talking. I'm not sure how many WNBA teams are in another city too.
So I think it might just be us 2 for women's sports, which would be really cool to kind of like build that partnership up a little bit.
Well, it would be the Liberty, obviously, would be one of them, right? The New York
For
the New York Liberty.
Oh, I meant like if there's other women's sports in Vegas.
Oh, I understand. Okay, gotcha, 100%. Yeah, no, to my knowledge, it is just the two professional women's teams.
That's
I'm just
yes.
looking at like where are there WNBA and PWHL teams as
Oh,
well?
Toronto now.
Yeah, Toronto, New York, Vegas,
Mm-hmm.
Minnesota, I
Mm-hmm.
think, and Seattle. I think
Yes.
Seattle has the Storm.
Yes, Seattle. Yep.
But that's
Yep.
an interesting thing to look at the market too, because now there's proven
Mm-hmm.
markets. Sorry, I wasn't clear on that. That's my fault.
No, that's okay. I was just curious. I've been meaning to look that up. But then, like, for Vegas Golden Knights game, that's been a rink I've wanted to go to. It's like
Oh
entertainment
yeah,
there. Like you can tell by the opener, like
yeah.
they don't mess around. It's for the fans for sure. And I think it'll be really cool to see how they incorporate that with our team when we play games there. Once we find out the name and stuff like that. And I think that'll really make it a cool experience for the fans that I don't think a lot of other rinks would have.
Yeah,
Vegas doesn't do anything like.
it sounds like a pretty exciting opportunity to like you said earlier, you're kind of building from the ground up, and you're I think your veteran leadership and where you've been in other places are going to lead to like you're just talking about, like what kind of events do you have, what kind of partnerships are there, what kind of ways have I
Hmm.
seen it being successful. I'm just wondering from a player's perspective, when you move across the country and you're used to your regular routine, your routine as a trainer, and where you eat and the type of food and your favorite restaurant, like how much are you going to be able to influence like the new players coming in to acclimate themselves to these like all the different amenities, and how much research do you do as an athlete to say, oh boy, this is my training ground now, and I gotta find this person to work out with, and I gotta find this area where this is going to help me for my preseason and in season workouts. I mean, is that a lot of that stuff? Do you do that on your own, or do your team, or how does that process work?
You know what? I haven't really had to do that because most people go back to like their homes for off-season stuff. Like you're not normally staying in your market unless you're like from there, obviously. And obviously different markets have a different amount of people who live in that area. But like I remember with Ottawa, there was really only one rink to go to or one workout place to go to. Like it wasn't too spread out. Where Toronto, it was all over the place. There was like rinks were so spread out, workouts were all spread out. Like no one really went to one location. So it was really your choice. You kind of had to just decide what was closest to you. Honestly, with Toronto traffic, that was the way to go. In Montreal, there was only one spot to work out and skate in, which was nice. I got to go there for a little bit last off season. I was planning on being there this off season, but things changed. Um, and then for Vegas, I honestly have no idea. Haven't looked into it at all. That will be a step I probably take next month, maybe like once I continue kind of nailing down where I might live. Cause I think my goal is to maybe be there in October and start training there. Luckily for me, I have Nick who helps me with my off-season training wherever I am. So that helps me for ease of workouts. I think the skates would be the different story. And luckily, there's so many connections once you're in that hockey community for like people to kind of take you under their wing and have you skate with them, whether it's like with junior guys or pro guys or college guys, or if there are any girls in that area training. But I would assume it's mainly guys in that area training.
Yeah. Yeah.
They may surprise you, Haley. I'm not going to lie to you. There's
You never know.
there's a lot going on
Mhm.
out there. I know Vegas does like to take care of their people in terms of
Mhm.
facilities. I also think you're right. Vegas does not do anything quietly. So
No.
I'm very interested. I think we're all very interested to see how they go with the name and how they go with the game day performance and the hockey as well. I mean, we're excited. Again, not many names on the Vegas roster yet, but the ones that they do have are known names, and they're building a great
Yep.
foundation there.
Mhm.
One of the other things I noticed about you is obviously we follow you here at Our Girls Play Hockey quite a bit. Is your off-season workouts? You're already moving. Like we're seeing you out at the bus. We're seeing you do lots of different things. How long did you not take off, but like how long did you relax before you really started training again? Because you're already out there moving.
I honestly, my break was kind of like our celebration in Montreal. Like I didn't work out at all during that
Yeah,
time.
and nor
I
should
just
you
had
have.
fun and I was packing and things like that. But I would say then I got home, took the weekend off, and then I started working out that next week. Like I was excited to go work
Yeah.
out. And it's not like we've been working out like hard, but not like super hockey specific workouts or anything like that. Actually, I have been shooting a little bit, so that's kind of a lie. But um It's just been really fun to get back into it. I was telling Nick, I was like, I really am excited to like work out again. Like, and I think that's when it's good to go back. Like, you don't want to like force yourself to go back too early. And I think that's when I knew that I was physically ready, was because I was so excited to go work out again.
Yeah.
So it's been really nice to kind of get back into that routine and be home, see family, and then also get my workouts in and feel accomplished in that sense. And feel like I'm getting that like muscle going again. Because once the season had ramped up, like our workouts were kind of less and less, like as they should be. So I've missed working out a lot.
Yeah, it's funny. A lot of players should take a cue from that, right? Like know what their
Yeah.
body's telling them, and say like it doesn't.
Hmm.
There's no like hard and fast. Like when you are ready, you'll know you're ready. And I think the fact that
Hmm.
you want to work out just shows like your body says, okay, let's go. This is what I do. Like this is part of who I am. And I think that's really maybe for an athlete that doesn't feel that, that's probably a good indication that, well, maybe, maybe this isn't the right path for you, right? I mean, if you don't feel the need, to put yourself in motion, and you're
Hmm.
and you're very happy with the sitting around on the couch, then that just says a lot about the particular athlete, right? So I think it's a really great
Hmm.
cue for a young player to say, well, I probably need maybe a little longer time than Hayley because I'm not getting paid to play, but at the same time, don't take too much time off because that will affect you. And if you feel like, oh, I want the time off, then that's something to really reflect on, I think.
Yeah, none of
Hmm.
these youth athletes are getting a 3-year standard player agreement from the
Yeah.
team. I'll say too, Haley, just on that one more time. I should say earlier, the 3-year agreement is a real testament to you. That they
Hmm.
want you there. The fact it's a long-term contract. That long-term contracts are not normal in that league, and that
Yeah.
would be a very long-term contract by the standards I'm looking at. Same thing back to training and taking breaks for the audience listening, especially the kids. It's amazing when you look at life. 15-minute breaks during the day are encouraged. 1 week breaks after the off season are encouraged. Like breaks are encouraged. You
Hmm.
know, uh, I guess I'll say in moderation, right? Like it's important to do. My own kids recently,
Hmm.
like we gave them off for a little bit of time. We got them back on the ice recently. They were so excited, and you could see it in their eyes. And then we played a little tournament recently, and you could see the whatever the energy, the refreshness. I made that up. Is there, right? They're refreshed, and you can tell they're ready to kind of move into the next phase of the summer here. You
Hmm.
mentioned Nick a few times. I should do this. We gained a lot of new listeners this year through your journey. Nick Stoop is Haley's boyfriend. That's who she keeps referring to. We usually do like an annual episode with him. We'll probably do that pretty soon here.
Yeah. Right.
Incredible motivator. Tell the
Hmm.
audience listening that at some point next year when you're watching PWHL Vegas, you will see a bearded man, slightly crazy looking, screaming in the crowd. Good chance that's Nick. Okay, if you
Yeah.
see him. You could not miss him at the Olympics. You could not miss him in the Walter Cup final. Just an incredible
Mm-mm.
motivator. I want to ask you about his support too, because
Mhm.
he is an incredible human being. His
Mhm.
energy is limitless. His
Mhm.
positivity, although I don't think he would call it that, is limitless. Talk to
Yeah.
me about the support of him and family in general
Mhm.
in what has been a turbulent few years. I mean, it's not even just last season. Like it's a few
Yeah.
years.
His support just means the world to me. I think, even before we had started dating, he started as my trainer and he was just always there for me, always there to help and stay longer for workouts and help with like maybe little ailments I was having or sorenesses or things like that because he a jack of all trades. Um and and then now that we're obviously together and dating, like that support has obviously increased immensely. He's there physically, he's there mentally for me, like anything that I need, he's able to help me with and help me work through and talk through and any hard times that I'm going through, like he's able to kind of find like little silver linings in a lot of things, but then he also lets me sit in any sadness that I might be having and there to just like be a listening ear. I tell him that sometimes. Like sometimes you just need to have the person just listen and not actually give any feedback. Like you just need that like support to just be there. And then let alone his energy at the games is palpable. Like you can hear it from the
Yeah.
stands. Like I'll look up and just see him and it just like there's times where maybe I'm like frustrated during a game or something like that. And I just kind of like look up and I'll see him and I'm like, and then he'll like go like this, or something. And it just kind of gets me out of my head. And I'm like, okay, like just take a breath, like go back to your game. And so just little moments like that just mean the world to me. And it's just so incredible to have such a supportive partner like that. And then we just get to do this life together, which is so fun, and mentor young athletes in our community too. And that's something we share, like that desire to kind of help the next generation and be that support for them that we never had growing up and that we always wish we had had. So I think that makes it a little extra special for sure.
Yeah, make sure if you haven't yet done so yet, check out Hayley. Well, we'll say Hayley and Nick's community, but HayleyScamurra.com is where you can find information. Correct.
Yes.
The newly launched HayleyScamurra.com.
Yes.
Make sure if you listen to these episodes a lot, make sure you check that out. It doesn't.
Mhm.
You have to do it. No, I love that you dove into that, because the truth is, Hayley, on any journey, you're never doing it alone, and that support group is so important. I always feel like we need to remind young athletes that sometimes I feel like a lot of them feel like I got to do this by myself. And you don't. There's aspects of it you do. When you're climbing the mountain, you're pushing through when it's you versus you. Some of that is, you, but there's always someone supporting you. And I love that you mentioned in the games, like looking up and having that level of relaxation. Palpable is the perfect word to describe it.
Yes.
Because he is full of energy. But let me ask you this now too. Obviously, off season's here, training will ensue. You're getting to a bit of a routine. I feel like this is a question we may come back to. Last year on that whiteboard, the whiteboard's down, right? You moved. You had
Yeah.
I am a gold medalist. I am a Walter Cup champion. I'm not going to ask you what it's going to be yet, because I know time has to go into that. But I wonder if you could tell us about maybe the process of developing that type of goal messaging, because I've been at points in my life where I've accomplished something big, right? And you do want to take a moment, right? Like you got to take a moment, live in that for a little bit, but you can't stop, because if you stop, then what are we doing here, right? I always give the example of like the astronauts that landed on the moon, about like there's no higher achievement they could possibly do, I guess, professionally in their life, and they had to continue moving forward after that. So not that, like there's no Olympics next year, right? Like what is your process now for starting to develop the goals? I think this will be part of the process this year until you're ready, if you are ready to unveil what may be on the whiteboard in the future.
Honestly, great question. I think I've been so focused on just kind of being present lately that I haven't really gotten to there, if I'm being
That's a great
honest. It's
answer.
been
Yeah.
I've been enjoying like celebrating like the championship and the gold medal like with my family and friends. Like what's funny actually, so I did that Buffalo Bills thing and my brother was there and he was in Milan as well. And I'm showing the medal to everyone, and he was like, "Hayley, I haven't held the medal yet." I go, "What are you talking about? How have you
You
not
were
held the
there.
medal yet?" And he's like, he goes, "Hayley, it was just such a blur. Like, I don't think I ever held it." And I go, "That is insane." So I think that was a big moment for me where I'm like, "Wow, I haven't really had the time to like actually
Yeah.
celebrate this with my family and friends." And so he held the medal, and he was like, "Oh, it's heavy," So
Yeah.
I was like, "Okay, you definitely didn't hold it."
I'm visualizing him prying it from your hands right now. Like,
Yeah.
no, the sibling rivalry there. But that's
Yeah,
awesome. Yeah.
it's just so funny. And so I think, I have a lot of family here. So it's like going to see my nephews and my nieces, and all these people and aunts, uncles. And so it's a lot of people to like celebrate with and just kind of enjoy that time with. But also get into my routine and make sure I'm working out when I want to work out and getting groceries and making meals. Like there's just so many things you don't really think about. Um, and so I've just been really focusing on like kind of getting into a routine and seeing family and celebrating with
Yeah,
them.
what's interesting about your answer, first of all, I think being present is a key to this, right? I'm glad that's your
Mhm.
answer. And here's the thing is that I think that, and this is going to kind of become a question. I'm just sharing my experience and want to see if it's similar to yours. But
Mhm.
when, for a new goal, we'll just call it a goal, you
Mhm.
can call it manifestation, whatever you want for now, to form, you kind of have to let it happen. Right. I
Mm.
find sometimes young players, even adults, are in a rush to find the next thing, and they're not present. And the truth is that these things, they reveal, that's the word I'm looking for. They reveal themselves in time. And it's like when you kind of know. All right. Now, again, with the Olympics coming up, it's kind of ordained. Like, okay, that's a clearer destination.
Yeah.
Right. Uh, but again, am I right in this? Like, it will reveal itself in time, whatever it's going to
Mhm.
be, right? And you have to be patient with that process.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it'll also kind of reveal itself as I'm going through the off season more so, like once I kind of like kick it into higher gear, if you will. And so I think it'll just kind of naturally manifest itself for
Yeah.
sure.
That's
Yeah.
funny. The manifestation will manifest itself. That's a deep thought.
Yeah.
This is why we need Nick on the air, because he could probably explain that better than I'm going to try to. But it's true. Like there's forces at B there that I think are not fully understood by all of us. But
Hmm.
you have championed them, Hayley. And like just to our audience listening, I will tell you, we did promise a Q&A. Now that Hayley is, we'll just say, a little more settled, I think we're in a position we can maybe move forward with that a little bit. So
Yes.
keep an eye out for that question submission post, if you will. I know Haley is always excited about that. And then throughout the summer, we're going to have episodes. We're going to have information for you. One of the things we're excited to talk to Haley about a bit more is hockey, right? We
Hmm.
talk a lot of that day in the life. We always love talking about, girls hockey, women's hockey, but we want to talk about just hockey too. The whole network is all about that. And I know, Haley, you're excited
Hmm.
about kind of those aspects of hockey development as well. But any final thoughts on just where you're at today? Again, it's mid-June.
Hmm.
We'll just say the championship dust has settled. I hope you're still feeling elated about that every single moment of the day right now. And you're kind of moving into the next phase of the offseason.
Hmm. I just think, something that kind of helped me a lot during this whole process with the expansion and switching teams and everything is that whatever journey is unfolding is what's meant for you. And there's something about it that will only benefit you if you continue to look for that. And so I think that's been a mantra I've been kind of like living by, this or infinitely better. And that's helped me a lot in just different stages of my life when things have been changing a lot. And I'm like, okay, it must be for some reason. It must be giving me this opportunity. And so I've been looking at that for with this Vegas change. And that's why I think I'm feeling really excited about the opportunity and everything. So just for all those kids out there, if there's something, changing in your life or something, just think about what benefit could come from it. And you'll also help kind of realize that in your journey too.
What's amazing, Haley, too, is how your journey revealed that to you. Because I think if we
Hmm.
asked you that, or if you were speaking to yourself a few years ago right now, would have been a very different person you were talking to. And I think
Hmm.
the evolution of you as a person, as you just said, is amazing. So
Yeah.
I'll
Thank you.
always say thank you for sharing all this stuff with us. Mike, any final thoughts before I close this out?
No, I'm just wondering if we've signed Haley for the cross country documentary tour.
Yeah.
But other than that,
Oh yeah, moving companies
Yeah.
sponsor me.
Collins Brothers, give us a call. I think it's
Hot Wheels, Haley.
it's congratulations, by the way, and I think
Thank you.
just again a new chapter and a new market, and us getting to
Hmm.
watch a whole new section of women's hockey grow will be a fun thing to look forward to.
Yeah, we're gonna have to
For
figure out
sure.
that Pacific time zone thing, but we will make it
I
work.
was thinking that.
All right, gang, that's going to do it for this edition of Our Girls Play Hockey. For Hayley Scamurra, Mike Benelli, I'm Lee Elias. Again, we'll be with you all summer. Thanks so much for listening. If you've got questions, remember, you can always email us, team@ourkidsplayhockey.com, or click the link accompanying this episode in the description. It's the fastest way to get to us. And keep an eye out for that Q&A post coming soon. Take care, everybody. Have fun and enjoy your hockey. We hope you enjoyed this edition of Our Kids Play Hockey. Make sure to like and subscribe right now if you found value wherever you're listening, whether it's a podcast network, a social media network, or our website, ourkidsplayhockey.com. Also, make sure to check out our children's book, When Hockey Stops, at whenhockeystops.com. It's a book that helps children deal with adversity in the game and in life. We're very proud of it. But thanks so much for listening to this edition of Our Kids Play Hockey, and we'll see you on the next episode.